I'm sorry, what? Doing street photography by sitting on a bench? Can this work? Welcome to This is for the Lazy Street Photographer. You'll see in a few moments whether lurking for motifs on the bench really works. Why am I actually doing this experiment? In this video I would like to give you 6 tips on how to do street photography with just little effort. Whether you're feeling lazy or just don't have much time for street photography at the moment, you'll have a reason why you clicked on this video, and we'll jump right into the first tip. Tip number 1, always have your camera with you. There's a trick for people who want to start exercising like jogging and can't get it right. The trick is actually quite simple. Just don't commit to jogging a specific route or time. As a result, our brain has far too many opportunities to find excuses and reasons why you just can't do it. Instead, you just should put on your running shoes and sports clothes and then see what happens. If you're outside in sports clothes, most people take the chance and go jogging. That's the trick to overcome the inner couch potato. It's the same with your camera. You don't have to plan long photo tours, just always take your camera with you. Preferably a small compact camera like the Ricoh GR3 or the Fuji X100V. And whenever you see something exciting on your way to work or to the supermarket, it doesn't take a big effort to make the shot easy right away. Tip number 2, use a zoom lens. Yes, it may shock some old-fashioned street photographers, and I usually only use a prime lens as well, but a zoom lens is a good option for the lazy and for lazy days as well. Sure, prime lenses are sharper and photos usually look more three-dimensional and a bit stronger, so to speak, if you just get closer with your 28 or 35mm instead of using a telephoto lens. But zoom lenses have advantages if you can handle them. This includes estimating as early as possible which focal length to choose for which motif before the person moves away or the situation you wanted to photograph is over. I've had prejudices against using a zoom lens for a long time, but for this lazy day today, it just makes sense because I don't have to move and I just have more flexibility from my location, the bench. So I chose the 16 to 80mm 1:4 Fujinon on my X-T4. Tip number 3. Fishing plus. If you, as a street photographer, simply position yourself with your camera in a good spot with interesting light and wait for passers-by to walk into your picture, this is called fishing. For the particularly lazy street photographers, the fishing plus technique is what I would call it. It's like fishing, but a lot longer. It can look like this, for example, that you sit down on a meadow or on a bench like I do here, first read a book and slowly immerse yourself in the scenery. The people around you will eventually get used to you and will no longer pay much attention what you do. Now you can grab your camera every once in a while and snap some photos when the opportunity arises. Because you are in one place for so long, you also experience all the positions of the sun and you can remember what time of day, for example in summer, the sun is best in this place, and then return to the next time if necessary, and if you don't feel too lazy this day, of course. By the way, even if you're feeling lazy right now, I'd be very happy if you subscribe to my channel. It's just one click. Because I saw in my stats that over 70% of my viewers don't have a subscription yet. Now is the opportunity to catch up. Thank you so much. Now right to tip number 4. Don't think too much when taking pictures. Do you know Daido Moriyama? My favorite Japanese photographer has been taking photos from the hip without looking at the viewfinder for decades. The results are just awesome and became iconic street photographs. Apply to your daily street photography. This means shoot in program mode with autofocus or in aperture priority, so you don't have to worry about the exposure too much. And when you feel the impulse to take a picture, take the shot without worrying too much about the composition. An irretrievable moment that is not perfectly composed is much more valuable in street photography than a perfectly composed photo that can be repeated at any time, any day. Tip number 5, shoot JPEG only. Image editing and RAW files is something for over-ambitious street photographers, don't you think? My tip for lazy street photographers, just try to shoot JPEG only. Fujifilm and Ricoh in particular have wonderful film simulations that, so to speak, take over the work of photo editing for you. You can then have these JPEGs automatically transferred to your smartphone and post them immediately on Instagram. An important tip for lazy street photographers when it comes to Instagram is desocialize your Instagram. Did you know that you can turn off comments and likes on Instagram? This is very handy for all lazy street photographers. All you have to do is upload your photo or your photo series, add a description. Of course, you can have this created with ChatGPT, including the hashtags, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. You no longer need to have a guilty conscience if you don't answer a comment for a long time because your followers can simply not comment. And you will do a hell of a thing for commenting on others. However, the others will not think that you are lazy or even arrogant if you ignore your friends' uploads, but that you are a real artist now. And as such, of course, you have no time for any superfluous social media activities. Yes, I admit it, some of the recommendations were a bit exaggerated. But there is a kernel of truth in it. Before you don't go out shooting, do it with the least effort. But with street photography, like almost anything, the more you do it and the more regularly you do it, the better you'll get. What I've learned in this small experiment where I sat about 1 hour on the bench and tried to get some shots is that being lazy can be more exhausting than actually walking around and actively hunting for shots. When nothing was happening for a few minutes, I always got the impulse, hey, let's go anywhere else. It's boring here. I got the feeling that I was missing some good photo opportunity while stupidly just sitting there. I won't do this again before I'm 90, that's for sure. I also learned that I can't handle zoom lenses. I only shot in the 16 to 35 millimeters range with my 16 to 80 millimeter lens. So, well, my resume to this experiment is when it comes to laziness in street photography, you're just shooting yourself in the foot with shortcuts. So if you have a less lazy day or a day when your other activities give you a little bit more time, you can try more sustainable street photography approaches that require a bit more work and time. And believe me, they are more fun as well. Come on, let's get yourself out there. We only have one life. Let's do what we love to do. Happy shooting, yours, Oliver.